When I was a kid, we had this one snack that was always in my freezer. It was these tiny little pizza rolls filled with pepperoni and cheese. Oh, they're so good. Yeah, these things, chef's kiss, and honestly, still slap. These pizza rolls were perfect for any time of day. It didn't matter if it was 9 a.m. or midnight. These things were straight from the Lord. Something my brother and I figured out was that there were very specific ways to prepare this snack that could totally change the experience. See, if you were in a hurry, you could pop these bad boys in the oven and have them ready in just a few minutes. They would be semi-hot, soft, cheesy, and fill you right up. However, if you had some time and were looking for a more refined, fine dining experience, then you could put this snack in the oven. Putting them in the oven required a lot more waiting, with the preheating, allowing this delicacy to be fully baked, and then, of course, the time it took to cool off before you could eat them without them burning the roof of your mouth. One thing we noticed and agreed on was that eating these after taking the time to bake them in the oven was so much better than using the microwave. Rather than being deflated and kind of soggy from the microwave's uneven heat, they would come out of the oven hot, crispy, and so much better. You could tell the difference immediately, and it made eating these pizza rolls so much better. The secret to the best tasting version of this pizza snack was taking more time to prepare it. Now get this, the same is true in our lives. The best things in life often take time. But here's the reality. You and I live in a world that's constantly trying to do everything quicker, faster, and in a shorter amount of time. And that's because we want what we want now. We want movies, TV, and YouTube on demand, preferably without ads. We want our Starbucks drink to come out super fast, but we get frustrated when there are a ton of mobile orders ahead of us. And we want to finish our homework in record time so we can just relax. We want our phone to have instant internet, and we want our favorite video game or movie franchise to hurry up and release the next one already. We want the newest of things, and we want that new thing to be the best and fastest version available. But those wants are usually the complete opposite of how our lives operate. As we grow, we change in so many different ways, and sometimes we just want to speed that process up so that we're on the other side of that change. Like, remember when I was telling you about the pizza rolls? And when you put them in the oven, it's so easy to heat up and eat quickly. In my mind, this represents how fast we want important change to happen. We want it to be quick, fast, easy, and painless with zero mess. But if you want those pizza rolls to taste like they just came from a 5-star on Yelp, Michelin-rated restaurant, you definitely want to spend the time and put them in the oven. Okay, maybe not 5-star Michelin-rated, I know I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. Because the best way to prepare these pizza rolls is to allow them to slowly change over time. So what do pizza rolls have to do with what we're talking about today? Well, those pizza rolls in the oven represent the best kind of new changes. You see, unlike microwaves, the best kind of new changes don't happen instantly. According to Paul, who traveled around teaching other people about Jesus long ago, he showed that the good type of change, the type of change from Jesus, takes time. In a letter to some friends who gathered in a church together in a place called Corinth, Paul wrote this: "Anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone, a new life has begun." So from Paul, we learn that when we choose to follow the teachings of Jesus, we become brand new. As humans, we're already constantly changing and being shaped into newer versions of who we already are. That's also what life with Jesus does. When we accept Jesus, we have this new life that changes constantly and shapes us into newer versions that look more like Jesus. But as we've talked about, those changes aren't quick ones. They don't happen overnight. But the key word in what Paul was writing is at the end of that sentence. The old life is gone, a new life has begun. Begun. Not a new life has happened already, not a new life and poof, everything is complete. Begun means that there's an ongoing process. It means that every day, every new experience that happens to you, from here on out, there will be change. Every new experience in your life is an invitation to change and become more like Jesus. Think about that. New experiences are just the beginning, and change will come with that. Like when you get onto the team you tried out for, start a new school, or move to a different state, or face a really hard challenge in your family or friend group. These are all new experiences that will lead to change. And what we want you to remember today is that every new experience is an invitation to change and become more like Jesus. So how do we do this? How do we take every new experience life throws at you, whether it's an awesome experience or a hard one, and use that experience to become more like Jesus? It's all a matter of steady practice over time. Practice allows us to change a little bit each day and become more like Jesus in the process. Here's a place to start. Number 1, practice praying. Praying is simply having a talk with Jesus the way you would talk with others in your life. You can talk about what's going on in your life, the things you want or hope for, and ask Jesus for help or be an encouragement to others. Number 2, practice hearing. Hearing from Jesus is all about being aware and looking for the ways Jesus communicates with you. Reading the Bible is one way to hear stories about what Jesus has done in the past and what Jesus could do in your own life. That's why making time to read scripture on a regular basis is so important. Okay, number 3, practice talking. Talking is a chance for you to speak to other people you trust about wherever you're at in your faith journey. Your parent or guardian, small group leader, peers, pastors, and mentors are all people who can help you change and grow just by having a conversation with them. Number 4, practice living. When you prioritize talking to Jesus, hearing from Jesus, and talking about your faith journey with others, then you can truly practice living an everyday type of faith. You see, when we put these things into practice, we begin to look more and more like Jesus. And that's the type of change that shapes us into new people a little bit each day. When we know that it's our responsibility to be like Jesus, then it's also our responsibility to put in the practice. Little by little, our wants and desires begin to look more like what Jesus wants and what Jesus desires. What Jesus cares about becomes what we care about. And what breaks Jesus' heart will break our hearts too. That's the gradual change that can happen because every new experience is an invitation to change and become more like Jesus. But if you haven't had that initial new experience, aka the one where you accept Jesus into your heart, that might be the first step for you to take. If that's the case, you can start putting in some practice today by talking to one of the trusted adults in your life. Someone like your small group leader would be a great place to start. Remember, you can always ask questions here at Eastside, and it's a safe place to explore what Jesus has for you. Because the more we lean into Jesus in all areas of our lives, the more we will start to look like him. Oh, Joe, come over. I made some pizza rolls.
Oh,
right?
Sweet.
So good.
Oh.
So good.
Oh, mine's cold in the middle.
Well, we only have a microwave in here, so they're just definitely not as good as the oven, but they're pizza rolls.
They are pizza rolls. Yeah, man. Icy.